but I can't give you any advice on whether that's a good investment or not. It's not something that I'm interested in. I understand, and I'd be the last person in the world to ask. I did not for a moment, for example, think that Ethereum was going to be the success that it was, as evidenced by the fact that I gave away all my Ether. I was entitled to 293,000 Ether. I gave it all to my secretary. I received no compensation for my work in the founding of Ethereum.
In this video, we're going to go over some fairly unknown cryptocurrency lore that I think needs to be more well known. For those that don't know Charles Hoskinson, he's the CEO and founder of Cardano, which is a top 10 cryptocurrency. What a lot of people don't know is that he was also one of the founders of the second largest cryptocurrency, Ethereum, alongside Vitalik Buterin. Here, he speaks on a mistake he made with his Ethereum holdings that is turning out to be incredibly costly, costing him over $1 billion and counting. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video where we go over what happened between Charles Hoskinson and Vitalik Buterin and why they had a falling out over Ethereum. We also go over some recent on-chain Ethereum data that suggests where the Ethereum price is likely to go from here. Also, only a tiny percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed. If you enjoy crypto content, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind. Enjoy the video.
Ether. I was entitled to 293,000 Ether. I gave it all to my secretary. I received no compensation for my work in the founding of Ethereum. Had I held on to that at the all-time high, I think it's worth more than $500 million. I made nothing on that transaction. I have an Xbox that's worth millions of dollars because I bought it on an exchange called BitMint. It was kind of like an open bazaar for Bitcoin, and I bought it for lots of Bitcoin because Bitcoin was only worth a few bucks at the time. I will never throw away that Xbox 360. So I'm personally the least qualified person to speculate on price. And there's nothing we announce or do as a company that is in any way, shape, or form tied to those types of cycles. There are cases where we know certain announcements, for example, the announcement of Coinbase, the community is so excited about, and they're very fired up about, because they've been asking me in my AMAs for over 2 years about that.
So, Charles gave away to his secretary his entire stack of 293,000 Ethereum. This video was recorded a while ago and he said that cost him $500 million, but at today's Ethereum prices, that stack of 293,000 Ethereum actually is worth over $1.1 billion. Jesus Christ, honestly incredible. I wonder if the secretary held onto a stack. Now, as to why Charles Hoskinson and Vitalik had a falling out, here's Charles on what happened between the founding team.
Well, I don't imagine Vitalik has a super high opinion of me, and it is what it is. The reality is that we have very big philosophical disagreements about how things ought to be run. When I was there, I said, look, if we're taking other people's money, we have to put that money into a structure that creates accountability. Furthermore, we have to put golden handcuffs on the founders and keep them loyal to the project because there's too many of them. There's 8 founders. And if they're not locked into something, then what's going to happen is they're all going to run away and create their own ventures, which is what they did. Anthony did Decentral, Gavin did Polkadot and Parity. I did Cardano. There's all 7 of the 8 are gone. And furthermore, the incentives were set up that we got paid up front with a founder reward, which I didn't take, the other 7 did. Basically, if the project's successful, hallelujah. If it fails, hallelujah. But you've already got your maximum reward up front. Whereas in an equity finance model, you have to build value over time, and you have a venture capital arm keeping you accountable. So there was a fundamental disagreement about business strategy and execution vision. And I felt a for-profit model with VC money to build the protocol made a lot more sense. And then when the protocol was done, spin it out and have a governing foundation run it. Would be probably a much better approach. That's one dimension. The other dimension is your interpersonal reasons. We had for 6 months been living like hippies, in the Switzerland house, and he was traveling around the world, and communication was very siloed, and paranoia and fear started building up. And there's like 3 books now written about this, and those books, they paint a portrait that there was a bunch of very brilliant people that got 2 doses of brains and half a dose of social skills, myself included. And when you put them into a high-stress, hippie-like situation, it breeds a lot of conspiracy theories and fear and these types of things. And frankly, there was just too many founders. So at some point you have to consolidate. And there was really two different paths that Vitalik could choose. He was sitting in the middle. He could pick the business side, which is what I was advocating, and Anthony Diorio and Joe Lubin were advocating, or he could pick the tech, crypto anarchy, not-for-profit, egalitarian, meritocratic open source world, which is what Gavin and Jeff were pushing. And ultimately our side lost. Amir Shatrit left and I left at the same time. And then shortly thereafter, Anthony left. And then Joe went on to do Consensus and monetize a whole different area. And then obviously the tech people, it was Lord of the Flies. They ate themselves. They nearly spent all of the ICO money. They launched Ethereum. I think they had less than $500,000 in treasury of the original 18 million that they ran. And they got very lucky that Ethereum became very valuable very quickly. That allowed them to replenish the treasury, and now it's a success. But just like Tesla in 2008, they were damn near bankrupt. So, in hindsight, could we have found a more amicable way, or could I have done things very different? Of course. At the time I was 25, 26 years old. It was the first time I've ever done anything at a scale like that. There's a reason I became a mathematician and not an MBA. I don't have those native skills. It took me about a decade to slowly aggregate and learn how to lead a company and actually be accountable to a company and run a software project and run a science project. And, my work stands for itself. With IOHK, we've published 92 papers. I think over 10,000 citations. I mean, an academic career for, somebody who's been around for 40 years or 50 years. We did all of that in just a 4-year period from when we bootstrapped our scientific to actually getting serious about paper production. And then we built an engineering company that not only can deliver a product as complex as Cardano to market, but do it in a very exotic programming language, Haskell, find talent there, and then actually go and improve Haskell, the programming language itself, and compile it to JavaScript and to WebAssembly and so forth. So I have 6 years of history at IOHK, and I have 6 months of history at Ethereum. What's so disheartening is that Ethereum is the big project, and Cardano isn't quite there yet. So Ethereum is what everybody knows me for. And so they only had 6 months of data where I had limited ability to influence and control things. And I was just one brick in the wall amongst many. And then at IOG, I've been the CEO, the big guy, so I've had the ability at my company to demonstrate what a vision would look like. And a lot of people often ask, well, what would have happened with Ethereum had you stayed? So we've already run that experiment. It would look a lot like Cardano, so how we built Cardano, the approach we took, that's exactly what Ethereum would look like. And similarly, they ask, well, what would have happened to Ethereum had Gavin Wood had more say? Well, we already ran that experiment. We have Polkadot, and that's exactly what Ethereum would have looked like. It will look a lot more like Polkadot and less like F2 and so forth. So in many ways, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It allowed all of us, Gavin, myself, Vitalik, to be our own guys and to pursue our own visions and build our own communities. And I think the cryptocurrency space is much richer as a consequence, because all the things we've done are open source. So love us or hate us, the ideas are percolating and being shared, and we learn from them, they learn from us, and ultimately the communities all benefit.
So there you have it, some fundamental differences of opinion on the future of the project. Honestly, some really interesting cryptocurrency lore that I think should be more well known. Now, for some on-chain Ethereum data, out from Sentiment, despite Ethereum pushing to all-time high levels just under $4,000, we can see that supply on exchanges remains to flow outwards with outflows outweighing any inflows. As I said yesterday, seeing this type of data is very impressive and bullish, and I expect us to see a 4,000 Ethereum very soon. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed today's video and that was interesting to you all. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, have a great day.